Hello and welcome to the first of hopefully many Redstone fun videos. In this video we will be going over a recent design that I and a friend of mine, Blackbone Angel, made, being a 1x7x8 tileable, compact and humane villager drop chute system. We had been playing on the Donna SMP and we were in dire need of a good villager system, and the old one was budget, did not look good and wasn't cutting it. So here we went into our creative world. Now before we can actually go over the design, there were a few goals that we had that I should probably cover. First was that it needs to be small. Second, it needs to be tileable, required. And third, it had to be repeatable. Left, right, either side, it had to be repeatable. Alright, so any blocks that were taken down had to be stored with the machine. Now, the first challenge we experienced was just getting the pistons to do what we want. It was ridiculous. But trust me, it's so much easier said than done. Like if I go to this design here, the piston's not doing what we want. And it was just stuff like this that we were at for hours. And eventually we got to this design here, which as you can see, it does work. However, it stores the piston on the wrong side. And that couldn't sit. We couldn't do that. It just wasn't what we wanted. So eventually, Blackbone Angel got off. He was tired, I'm assuming. So I was scratching my head for a while, putting things together, pulling them apart, and eventually we came up with this design here. Just to demonstrate it in action, I will press the button and you'll notice that the comparator receives a signal from the powered on copper bulb, which then activates the trapdoor. The observer will catch this, send a pulse down to this copper bulb, which then goes to another comparator, sending a signal into this observer, which then powers the two redstone repeaters, making this observer catch it, activating these two pistons here. Hang with me. There is a little bit more. This observer will then capture this, turning on, send the signal into the block, which will then be caught by these two redstone repeaters, which will then activate this piston only. That is important. If you notice, I'll press it. This observer is pulled back before this. This is important because if it's pulled back at the same time or before this is pulled back, it will activate this and will push whatever it's holding up into the ground here, which will just mess up this whole thing here. Now in this certain use case, I am using a toggleable button here. So I press it, it goes down. However, it will stay open until I press it again. This is just because that's how we want it. You can change this to be a redstone lamp and an observer, which will alternatively open it up and close it back up automatically. Now if you remember me saying how it's important that it's tileable and all on the same side, this is why. With more recent villager trading hall designs that I've seen, they use trapdoors rather than your usual block lectern block setup. This utilizes double the space. You get double the villagers and it works just as well. That's why we had to opt for this single side tileable design, so we could just get all these villagers in and out how we wanted when we please. As you can see, if I use it on this side, multiple buttons, it'll work just fine. I can close these back up like so, and the floors are all closed. I can do the same on this side. All these villagers, bye, bye, and bye. I can close it back up, works just as well. I can also, remember, I can break this, break that. I can then get a redstone lamp, place that there, and that's all it is, replacing two blocks, and that'll automatically do it, put it back in everything. So it's a super simple system and it works really well. I hope this video was useful and maybe you learned something just as I did. Making it was a heap of fun and designing it and all the struggle while painful, was a learning curve for me, and I actually know a whole lot more of Redstone thanks to just that. Major props to PBA for helping me out with it towards the beginning. And if you want to see more stuff like this, let me know. Thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.